desk again. John Palmer.
Thank you, Jane. In the news this morning, the situation in Beijing has intensified with reports of new casualties and continued dissension in the military ranks. Troops occupying central Beijing expanded their defenses and sporadic shooting could be heard during the night. There are reports that troops and tanks in Beijing are repositioning. Some Chinese residents claim the 27th Army, which led the weekend massacre of the students, has been engaged in sporadic clashes with units of the 28th Army, which is more supportive of the students. Meanwhile, Beijing radio has reported that hardliner Cao Shi has replaced moderate Zhao Jing as party chief. And martial law headquarters told police to arrest citizens who harass troops and to, quote, dispose of them on the spot if they resist. In Hong Kong today, a general strike called to protest the student massacre in Beijing closed many shops and offices. Military units were moved around the city last night at a show of force, and at one point tear gas was used to clear protesters. Some threw stones and bottles and set fire to a van in a show of support for their Beijing counterparts. Hong Kong residents are calling for the overthrow of the Chinese government's hardliners, but according to one Western diplomat in Hong Kong, there are signs that the military there is preparing to halt the demonstrations. The chaos in Beijing has foreigners scrambling to get out, but there are not enough commercial flights to accommodate them all. Meanwhile, U.S. Ambassador James Lilly has ordered diplomatic dependents to evacuate. This after Chinese soldiers shot up a U.S. diplomatic apartment building last night. Some of those who were able to leave China arrived last night in San Francisco. They told of last weekend's massacre and the current volatile situation in the capital city.
There was killings in half a block from my hotel last night. I must have seen over 200 people either dead or dying in the last, since Saturday night.
One of my students came back and left a note on one of my colleagues' doors, and it said, "2 of my best friends have died. Please go back and tell the world."
When you're in China, you think you're in a glass bubble as a foreigner. And now for the first time, I think we all realize that that glass bubble can break very easily.
Many Americans returning from China say the U.S. government failed to assist them in getting out despite a State Department warning to leave Beijing and other major Chinese cities.